Good morning, YouTubers, Facebookers, skeptics, and truthers alike. How much longer is this bullshit gonna last? If it's up to them, indefinitely. We're on the brinks of open enslavement, guys. If we don't start uniting and quit buying into this division tactic that they've been doing for fucking thousands and thousands of years, all the way back into the ancient Roman days. We buy into those same social and psychological tactics, those tricks, circuses of entertainment, and divide and conquer. They're doing it in so many different ways. Shit is crazy, guys. This vaccine bullshit, none of it is even logical. They're ignoring the root causes to our plaguing health issues and the statistics. The actual causes, the overacidity, the malnutrition, the toxicity. I mean, we're being exposed to toxic elements, and then we're fed this and indoctrinated this false belief on the germ theory and the ideology of viruses. It's all well-engineered illusions. People need to study Anton Béchamp. P.S.A even admitted in the end of his life, right before he dies, that Béchamp had it right. Study this history. Study how P.S.A and Béchamp was battling back and forth between the synthetic approach and the organic approach. Béchamp was addressing the root causes from an organic. He believed that the human body is a terrarium. You don't treat the disease, you treat the human. You treat the environment, the consumptions. Unlike P.S.A, who indoctrinated and falsely misinformed, that we contract the disease. This is well-engineered illusions. P.S.A was synthesizing things from their organic state, which made it man-made, which makes it patentable, which makes it profitable. This is why the billionaires funded and backed and systematically instilled this into our education system, into our medical indoctrination. He who controls information molds minds information. I mean, I can't seem to stay on Facebook. I post the most basic of scientifically proven information. The last one I got banned was for sharing information on bacterial pneumonia, how we catch the bacteria and get it into our lungs. And they gave no reason, no fact check. They called it a security breach. How much more of a sign do we need? I mean, not once are you hearing in the mainstream, the highest political positions, the politicians, our elected representation, or even the health advisors and the top of our government organizations speaking on fruits and vegetables, naturally boosting our immune system, vitamin D, the significance of water. None of this shit. Physical activity. None of it. Everything is vax. And now, all of a sudden, after the pressure's been put on, it's not FDA approved. Mysteriously, now it's FDA approved. But let's not ignore the track record of the FDA, who approved all these different things that killed people over decades and decades into a century. You know, opiates, DDT, aspartame, MSG, all the color dyes, the yellow 5, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Cigarettes. I'm guilty as charged on that one. But my point being, look at what's going on in Australia. They're going to try that shit here. And they're going to call people like me a holistic practitioner, extremist. Homeland Security has already put the document out. Anyone that questions narratives and the mainstream limelight are labeled extremist. They're labeled domestic terrorist. When I don't want nothing but health and happiness for my fellow man. That's an oath I took to become a minister. I took an oath to myself to seek out knowledge, to seek out truth, and share with my fellow man, regardless, unbiasedly, like what they're supposed to do in the media. But now the media is one of those division tactics. It's all well engineered variables, constantly evolving to meet their narratives. Lobbied science, lobbied politicians. None of those 3-letter abbreviated organizations and corporations is in the best interest of we the people. They're lobbied. Laws are lobbied around protection of these corporations. Hence why there's no medical liability for any adverse side effects from these vaccines. Not the manufacturer, not the distributor. You got mass groups of nurses walking out of the hospital because they're trying to force them to take this vaccine. That should be a big red flag. We don't have much time left, guys, because they're really about to start. I say before Christmas, they'll be pushing full lockdown, just like they're doing in Australia. You're not going to be able to go outside without wearing a mask. You're not going to be able to go into public places without a vaccination passport. This is tyranny, and we're amongst it. I mean, look into Carrie Mullis, the creator of the PCR test. That's setting the stage for all these case rises. And if, like I said, if you don't understand the battle between Béchamp and Pastry in the early 1900s, and the billionaires, you know, J.D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, funding and backing Pastry's ideologies, and blacklisting and banning organic approaches, like with Béchamp or Harry Hoxsey. Harry Hoxsey battled Rockefeller and his whole little organization, crony group, for over 2 decades before he was just financially ran dry. He had nothing left to fight their public smear campaigns, which they had billions to sink into. Rockefeller had billions to buy into the schools, put people on the school board, changing up the medical indoctrination. People need to wake up and realize with real eyes the real lies. Because like I said, he who controls information molds minds in formation. Look into this stuff for yourself, guys. Look into Kary Mullis. Go to BitChute, BITCHUTE. It is a platform that has all videos on it. Everything they've been removing from the mainstream social media platforms, the shit that they've kept out of the limelight of the mainstream media sources. And look into Robert Malone and Kary Mullis and ask why these two highly prestiged scientists and biochemists that they're using their creations on a global scale have been removed from these platforms, all their interviews of what they said. It's because they were calling out Fauci and they were calling out lobbied science, and they were explaining and breaking down in layman's terms where people could understand what their creations and how their creations work. They don't want this information in front of the masses, because this would crumble their empire. This is not conspiracy theories. This is conspiracy facts. They are conspiring against us. It's not in our benefits. Mullis says this in his interview, hence why they fucking took his shit away. Hence why Kary Mullis died August 7th, 2019, and a short month later, they started using his PCR test on a global scale thanks to Fauci. Despite what Mullis says in his interviews about his PCR test, about what he says about Fauci, about what he says about lobbied science and how they changed the narrative and rules to meet what they want to influence into the masses. I hope people wake up to this. Realize knowledge is key. Your health is your foundation. Your beliefs are your success. And your wisdom is your powers. I hope all create blessed days for themselves, and I love you guys. One love.